This one is by Mark Antony. Friends, Romans, countrymen. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is often taught with the bones, so let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus had told you Caesar was ambitious. If it was so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously had Caesar acceded. Here under the leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, so are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me, but Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. He had brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransom did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar had wept. Ambition should be made of stony stuff. Yet, Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal. I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure, he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to vote for him? Oh, judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in a coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me. Mark Antony. He had to meet with the chaps that who killed Caesar. He had to meet with them, shake their hand. Caesar's corpse was right there, and it was very difficult for Mark Antony. And it goes like this. So, I doubt not of your wisdom. Let each man render me his bloody hand. First, Marcus Brutus will I shake with you. Next, Caius Cassius, do I take your hand. Now, Decius Brutus, yours. Now yours, Metellus, yours, Cinna, and my valiant Casca, yours. Though last, not least in love, yours, good Triponius. Gentlemen all, alas, what shall I say? My credit now stands in some slippery ground, that one of two bad ways you must conceit me, either a coward or a flatterer. That I did love thee, Caesar, oh, it is true. If then thy spirit look upon us now, shall it not make thee dearer than the dealt? To see thy Antony making his peace, shaking the bloody fingers of thy foes, most noble, in the presence of thy cause. Had I as many eyes as thou hast known, weeping as fast as the stream forth thy blood, it would become me better than to close in terms of friendship with thine enemies. Pardon me, Julius, here was thou babe, brave heart. Here didst thou fall, and here thy hunter stand. Signed in thy spoil and crimson in thy lith, O world, thou wast the forest to this heart, and this indeed, O world, the heart of thee. How like a tear, struck by many princes, dost thou here lie. Be patient till the last. It is by Marcus Brutus. Be patient till the last. Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause, and be silent that you may hear. Believe me for mine honor, and have respect to mine honor that you may believe. Censor me in your wisdom and awake your senses that you may the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say, that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand why Brutus was against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I love Caesar less, but that I love Rome more. Had you rather Caesar were living and die all slaves, than that Caesar were dead to live all free men? As Caesar loved men, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. There is tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who is here so base that will be a bondman? If any speak, for him have I offended. Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any speak, for him have I offended. Who is here so vile that will not love his country? If any speak, for him have I offended. I pause for a reply. None, Brutus, none. Then none have I offended. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol, his glory not extenuated, wherein he was won, nor his offenses enforced, for which he suffered death. Here comes his body, borne by Mark Antony, who, though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefits of his dying, a place in the commonwealth, as which of you shall not. With this I depart, that as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself, when it shall please my country to meet my death. This one is Mark Antony. He had a task to do at Caesar's funeral. With all the conspirators there, and the cops right there. And he had to make a speech, meeting with all these people who murdered Caesar. This one was the Artemidos. He warned Caesar about his conspirators, and he got to be careful about it, take heed. But obviously, as we know, Caesar obviously did not take any heed. He went about as usual. Yeah. And it goes like this in his speech. It says, Caesar, beware of Brutus. Take heed of Cassius. Come not near Casca. Have an eye to Cinna. Trust not Trebonius. Mark well Metellus Simba. Decius Brutus loves thee not. Thou hast wrong Caius Licarius. There is but one mind in all of these men, and it is bent against Caesar. If thou beest not immortal, look about you. Security gives way to conspiracy. The mighty gods defend thee, thy lover Artemidos. Here will I stand till Caesar pass along, and as a suitor will I give him this. My heart laments that fortune cannot live out of the seat of emulation. If thou readiest, O Caesar, thou mayest live. If not, the fates with traitors do contrive. The fates with traitors obviously do contrive. You know what happened to Caesar? Be patient till the last. Romans, countrymen, and lovers, hear me for my cause, and be silent that you may hear. Forgive me for my honor. Have respect to my honor that you may believe. Censor me in your wisdom and awake your senses that you may be better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his. If then that friend demand, while Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer. Not that I love Caesar less, but that I love Rome more. I'd rather Caesar living and die out slaves than that Caesar were dead to live out free men. As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him. There is tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition. Who is here so base that will be a bondman? If any, speak. For him have I offended. Who is here so rude that would not be a Roman? If any, speak. For him have I offended. Who is here so vile that will not love his country? If any, speak. For him have I offended. I pause for a reply. None, Brutus, none. Then none have I offended. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol, his glory not extenuated, wherein he was worthy of his offenses and force for which he suffered death. Here comes his body, borne by Mark Antony, who, though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying, a place in the commonwealth, as which of you shall not? Who is this I depart? That as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself, when shall place my country to read my death. Henry V again. Crispin Day. What's he that wishes so? My cousin Westmoreland. No, my fair cousin. If we are marked to die, we are now to do our country lost and if to live. The fewer men, the greater share of honor. God's will, I pray thee, wish not one man more. By Jove, I am not covetous for gold, nor care I who doth feed upon my cost. It yearns me not if man my garments wear. Such outward things dwell not in my desires. But if it be a sin to covet honor, I am the most offended soul alive. Though fate my cause, wish not a man from England, God's peace. I would not lose so great an honor, as one man more methinks would share for me, for the best hope I have. Oh, do not wish one more. Rather proclaim it Westmoreland through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart, his passport shall be made, and crowns for convoy put into his purse. We would not die in that man's company, that fears his fellowship to die with us. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when his day is named, and robs him at the name of Crispian. He that shall live this day and see old age will yearly on the vigil feast his labors and say, tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeve and show his scars and say, these wounds I had on Crispian's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he will remember with advantages what fits he did that day. Then shall our names familiar in his mouth as household words. Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups, freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall never go by from this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he never so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now a bed shall think themselves accursed, they will not hear, and hold their manhood's chip, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day. Wherefore rejoice, What conquest brings he home? What tributaries follow him to Rome? To grace in captain bonds his chariot wears. You blocks, you stones, you worse than senseless things. Oh, you hard hearts, you cruel men of Rome, knew you not Pompey? Many a time enough have you climbed up to walls and battlements, to towers and windows, yea, to chimney tops, your infants in your arms, and there have sat the livelong day with patient expectation to see great Pompey pass the streets of Rome. And when you saw his chariot but appear, have you not made a universal shout, that Tiber trembled underneath her banks, to hear the replication of the sound made in her concave shows? And do you now put on your best attire? And do you now call out a holiday? And do you now strew flowers in his way that comes in triumph over Pompey's blood? Begone! Run to your houses, fall upon your knees, pray to the gods to intermit the plague that needs must light on this ingratitude. Yes, so it's obviously Brutus was going through sort of hard times, and he wasn't the same sort of person. Cassius realized that, so he said to Brutus, you know, tell us you have some problems. Tell us, you know, you're formal, you're stiff. I could see in your eyes that there is a coolness between us. So now Cassius Brutus decide now to answer into a speech. And then Cassius will answer him back as well. And then Brutus will have the last word.
Okay.
And it goes like this. Brutus. We'll have to start over. Yeah, this one is by Mark Antony. Post back with speed and tell him what a chance. Here is a moon in Rome, a dangerous Rome. No Rome of safety for Octavius yet. Hie hence and tell him so, yet stay a while. Thou shalt not back till I have borne this course into the marketplace. There shall I try. In my oration, how the people take the cruel issue of these bloody men, according to the which thou shalt discourse to young Octavius of the state of things, lend me your hand. This is by Mark Antony. O mighty Caesar, dost thou lie so low? Are all thy conquests, glories, triumphs, spoils, shrunk to this little measure? Very well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, there is no hour so fit as Caesar's death's hour. No instrument of half that waters does your sword, made rich with the most noble blood of all this world. I do beseech ye, if you bear me harm, now, whilst your purple hands do reek and smoke, fulfill your pleasure. Live 1,000 years, I shall not find myself so apt to die. No place would please me so, no mean of death. As here by Caesar and by you cut off, the choice and master spirits of this age. This one is by Marcus Brutus. Under your pardon you must note besides that we have tried the utmost of our friends. Our legions are brimful, our cause is ripe. We at the height are ready to decline. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which, taking at the flood, leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves, or lose our ventures. I think that is better. This one is by Mark Antony. Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth. Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth. that I am meek and gentle with his butchers. Here are the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which like dumb mouths do open their open lips, to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon the limbs of men. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar, that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants watered with the hands of war. All pity choked with custom of fell deeds, and Caesar's spirit ranging for its revenge. Without him by his side come up from hell, shall in his confines with a monarch's voice try havoc, and let slip the dogs of war. That this foul deed shall smell above the earth with carrion man, groaning for burial. Under your pardon, you must note besides that we have tried the utmost of our friends. Our legions are brimful, our cause is ripe. We at the height are ready to decline. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of the life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures. Marcus Brutus, the Ides of March. The day that Caesar was assassinated. Remember March, the Ides of March, remember. Did not great Julius plead for justice's sake? What villain touched his body that did stab, and not for justice? What shall one of us that struck the foremost man of all this world, but for supporting robbers? Shall we now contaminate our fingers with base bribes, and sell the mighty space of our large honors for some trash as may be grasped thus? I had rather be a dog and baby moon than such a woman. Okay, this is by Mark Antony to do with Caesar's will. For the will, you get a few speeches. And we say, but yesterday, the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he dead, and none so poor to do him reverence. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who, you all know, are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I will wrong such honorable men. But here is a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet. It is his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. And they will go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds, and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him for memory, and dying, mention it within the wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto the issue. We'll hear the will, Caesar's will. The will, the will. Let Caesar's will. Have patience, gentlemen. I do not mean to read it. It is meant you know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stones, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it would inflame you, it would make you mad. It is good you know not that you are his heirs, for if you should, oh, what would come of it? Want to hear the will? Read it, Mark Antony. You shall read us the will. Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I have overshot myself to tell you of it. I fear I wrong the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it. We want to hear the will, Caesar's will. You compel me then to read the will. Then make a ring about the cups of Caesar, and let me show you him that made the will. Should I descend? Would you give me leave? That was granted. Nay, press not upon me, say far back. If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. It was on a summer's evening in his tent. That day he overcame the Navai. Look in this place, one considers his dagger through. See what a rent the envious Casca made. To this the well-beloved Brutus stabbed, and as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as rushing out of those to be resolved, if Brutus so unkindly knocked on low. For Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, oh you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all, for when the noble Caesar saw him starve, in gratitude, most strong and traitor's arms quite vanquished him, then burst his mighty heart. And in his mantle muffling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's statue, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen! Then I and you and all of us fell down, whilst bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep and I perceive you feel the dint of pity. These are gracious drops, kind souls. What whip you when you but bear Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here, here is himself, marred as you see with traitors. You come to do you know not what, wherein as Caesar does deserve you. Alas, you know not, I must tell you then. You forgot the will I told you of. Yes, the will, the testament, we want to hear it. Here is the will, and under Caesar's seal, to every Roman citizen he gives, to every several man 75 drachmas. Hear me with patience. Moreover, he had left you all his works, his private arbors, and new planted orchards on this side Tiber. He had left them you, and to your heirs forever, common pleasure, to walk abroad and recreate yourself. Here was a Caesar, when such comes another. This one is Marcus Brutus. Oh, coast will seem too bloody, Caius Cassius, to cut the head off and then hack the limbs, like wrath and death and envy afterwards. For Antony is but a limb of Caesar. Let us be sacrificers, but not butchers, Caius. We all stand up against the spirit of Caesar, and in the spirit of man there is no blood. Oh, that we then could come by Caesar's spirit and not dismember Caesar. But, alas, Caesar must bleed for it. And, gentle friends, let us kill him boldly, but not wrathfully. Let us carve him as a dish fit for the gods, not hew him as a carcass fit for hounds. And let our hearts, as subtle masters do, store up their servants to an act of rage, and after sin to chide them. They shall make our purpose necessary and not envious. which so appearing to the common eyes, we shall be called purgers, not murderers. And for Mark Antony, think not of him, for he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is off. Don't go. Good friends, sweet friends, let me not storm you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny. They that have done this deed are honorable. What private griefs they have, alas, I know not, that made them do it. They are wise and honorable, and will no doubt with reasons answer you. I come not, friends, to steal away your hearts. I am no orator as Brutus is, but as you know me all, a plain blunt man that love my friend. And that they know full well, that gave me public leave to speak of him. For I have neither wit nor words nor worth, action nor utterance, nor the power of speech to stir men's blood. I only speak right on. I tell you, that which you yourself don't know, show you sweet Caesar's wounds, pour down mouths, and bid them speak for me. But were I Brutus and Brutus Antony, there one Antony would ruffle up your spirits and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar that should move the stones of Rome to rise and mutiny. Yet, hear me speak, countrymen. You come to do you know not what, wherein had Caesar just deserved your love. Alas, you know not. I must tell you then. You have forgot the speech I told you of. Most true. You want to hear? You will. Caesar's will, the testament. Caesar's will, the testament. Stop it there. This is by Mark Antony. It's to do with Caesar's will. And before we get to his will, obviously, there are quite a number of speeches. So you have to be patient. First speech, where Antony found the will in Caesar's closet. And in that speech, it says, but yesterday, the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Castus wrong. Oh, you all know, honorable men, I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, and to wrong such honorable men. But here is a parchment with the will of Caesar. I found it in his closet. It is his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. And they will go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him from memory, and dying, mention it within the wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto their issue. We will hear the will, Caesar's will. Read it, Mark Antony. The will, we will hear Caesar's will. Have patience, gentle friends. I must not read it. You are not wood, you are not stone, but men. And hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you, it will make you mad. It is good you know not that you are his heir, for if you should, oh, what would come of it? We will hear the will, Caesar's will. You shall read us the will, you shall read us the will, Anthony. Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I have overshot myself to tell you of it. I fear I wrong the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it. You want to hear the will, the testament. You compel me then to read the will. Then make a ring about the cups of Caesar, and let me show him that made the will. Shall I descend? Will you give me leave? That is granted. So, now it says, nay, press not upon me, stay away. If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. It was on a summer's evening in his tent. That day, he overcame the Novi. Look in this place, ran Cassius' dagger through. See what a rend the envious Casca made. Through this, the well-beloved Brutus stabbed, and as he plucked his steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as rushing out of those to be resolved, if Brutus so unkindly knocked them low. For Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel. Judge, O you gods, how dearly Caesar loved him. This was the most unkindest cut of all. For when the noble Caesar saw him stab, ingratitude more strong than traitor's arms quite vanquished him, then burst his mighty heart. And in his mantle muffling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's statue, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen. Then I and you and all of us fell down, whilst bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep, and I perceive you feel the dint of pity. These are gracious drops, kind souls. What whip you when you but be a Caesar's vesture wounded? Look you here. Here is himself, marred as you see with traitors. Yes. And you see, the will of Caesar is a few speeches precede the will. The will is actually very short. We get quite a few speeches before by Mark Antony. And the first one, the first speech started, he said, but yesterday, the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies it there, and not so poor to pay him reverence. O masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I would do what was wrong, and Cassius wrong, who you all know are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I will wrong such honorable men. But here is a parchment with the will of Caesar. I found it in his closet. It is his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which part me I do not mean to read. And they would go and kiss Caesar's wound, and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him from memory, and dying, mention it within the wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy to the issue. He wants to hear Caesar's will. Read it back unto him. The will, the will. We want to hear Caesar's will. Have patience, gentle friend. I do not mean to read it. You are not wood, you are not stone, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it would inflame you, it would make you mad. It is best you know not that you are his heir, for if you know, what should come of it? Let us hear the will. We want to read the will. Read the will, Mark Antony. We shall hear Caesar's will. Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I have overshot myself to tell you of it. Wrong the gentleman that starts Caesar. I do fear it. We wants to hear Caesar's will. Read the will, Mark Antony. You compel me then to read the will. Then make a ring about the cups of Caesar, and I will let you show him. I will show you who made the will. Will you give me leave? That was given. So he went on his first.
Wait, stop, pause. Okay.
Caesar's Will by Mark Antony. You'll notice that quite a few speeches precede the actual will itself. So you have to be patient. And the first speech goes, but yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the wall. Now lies he there, and not support to do him reverence. O masters, if I were disposed to storm your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who you all know are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I will wrong such honorable men. But here is a parchment with the will of Caesar. I found it in his closet. It is his will. Let body commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. And they would go and kiss that Caesar's wounds and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. Yea, beg a hair of him for memory. Mention and dying, mention it within the wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto the issue. We'll hear Caesar's will. Read it, Mark Antony. The will will hear Caesar's will. Have patience, gentle friend. I must not read it. It must make you know how Caesar loved you. You are not wood, you are not stones, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it would inflame you, it would make you mad. It is good you know not that you are his heir. For if you should, oh, what would come of it? You would like to hear the will, Caesar's will. Mark Antony, read it. You shall read us the will. Mark Antony's. Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? I have overshot myself to tell you of it. I do fear I wrong the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it. We want to hear the will, the testament, Caesar's will. Read it, Mark Antony. You? Oh, well.
You're going to sit or you're going to stand?
I'll sit. Yes, this one is by Marvelous. It says, wherefore rejoice, what conquest brings thee home?
Stop for a second. I was talking.